What's up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Rob. I like to play games, and welcome back to the Commander Corner. Today we are looking at the final school from the Secrets of Strixhaven. We are going to be doing the Lorehold this time, and honestly, it's probably the one that I have been the least excited about, or at least I don't know, the least amount of inquiry. It's a bit different than what we're used to when it comes to Boros, so red-white, but you know what? I'll let you guys make that decision for yourselves. Let's take a look at the deck. Alright, and here we are. This is going to be Lorehold the Historian as our commander. 3 of anything for a red-white 5/5 flying haste dragon. Each instant and sorcery card in your hand, very distinct there, in your hand has Miracle 2. Miracle is where you may cast a card for its miracle cost when you draw it, if it's the first card you drew this turn. Now mind you, that does get around timing restrictions, which is pretty good. What's really interesting about Lorehold specifically as well is his other ability is at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep. So you get your own upkeep, and then you get 3 more upkeeps here with your opponents. You may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. So this is going to allow us to trigger miracles for our instants and sorceries on your opponent's turn. Now that is very strong. What are some of the things that we are looking to do? That is not supposed to be there. You can go there. So what we are looking to do here is we've got a few big boy spells, as I like to call them. These are the things that we're hoping to hit with Lorehold. We'll start with Invoke Calamity. You may cast up to 2 instant and or sorcery spells with total mana value 6 or less from your graveyard and or hand without paying their mana cost. If those spells would be put into your graveyard, exile them instead. Again, allowing us to channel more spells here. Our big win condition is going to be Approach of the Second Sun. Most of you guys probably know what this card does. It's 7 mana. If it was cast from your hand and you've cast another spell named Approach of the Second Sun this game, you win. Otherwise, put Approach of the Second Sun into its owner's library, 7 from the top, and gain 7 life. With the amount of card draw and top deck manipulation we're going to have here, this is going to come up very quickly. Another big one is going to be Hit the Motherlode. Discover 10. If the discovered card's mana value is less than 10, create a number of tapped treasure tokens equal to the difference. This is going to allow us to just hit something big off of the top of our deck, as well as make a whole bunch of mana so that we can play other things throughout the rest of our turn or even our opponent's turn. Another bit of a win condition we have here is Stormherd. 10 mana, 8 and 2 white, create X 1/1 white Pegasus creature tokens with flying where X is your life total. Hit this early enough, that's 40 tokens. That's gonna end some games pretty quickly, as most of us are aware. And then finally, Rise of the Eldrazi. 9 of anything and 3 colorless pips. Those are important. You do require actual colorless mana to cast this, unlike the other side of it. So it's 9 of anything, whatever we want, and then 3 colorless pips. Spell can't be countered. Destroy target permanent. Target player draws 4 cards, and then you take an extra turn. So we're only take an extra turn spell in the deck, so it's not like we're going to be chaining it. We're not looking at it for a higher bracket or anything like that. But this card is just utterly ridiculous, and I'd feel remiss if we didn't play it. Now you will notice with this deck as well, our cost is a little high, and that's just because of some of the older cards we had to play in this deck to kind of make it work, and as well as some of the more expensive cards like Library of Lang. You have no maximum hand size. If an effect causes you to discard a card, discard it, but you may put it on top of your library instead of into your graveyard. So that will trigger with Lorehold. We can discard one of our big spells, put it on top of our library, and then draw it. Very strong. Sets up his miracle. And the real chungus in here that we really couldn't do this deck without is Sensei's Dividing Top. The ability to pay 1 and look at the top 3 cards of your library and put them back in any order in this deck specifically is far too powerful to ignore. So we kind of needed that. We then have a couple other interesting ways to just manipulate the top of our library. Hidden Retreat is a card that I wanted to play around with, but the other one was Penance. Both of these cards allow you to choose a card in your hand and put it on top of your library and prevent damage in some way. This one is from black or red sources. The other is from instants or sorceries. Now, again, it's a way for us to, if we happen to draw into our big boys, it's a way for us to just put them back where we need them and keep them there. Another one that I really want to highlight here is going to be the Planetarium of Wan Shi Tong. This allows you to pay 1 and scry 2, again, manipulating the top deck. But whenever you scry or surveil, look at the top card of your library. You may cast that card without paying its mana cost. Do this only once each turn. So this is going to allow us to just have another way to play the big spells, as well as a couple other cheat effects here. We have here Goliath Daydreamer. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell from your hand, exile that card with a dream counter on it instead of putting it into your graveyard as it resolves. When this creature attacks, you may cast that spell or cast a spell among the cards you own in exile with dream counters on them without paying its mana cost. Just a really great way for us to get multiples of certain effects. And then same thing with Galvanoth here. Beginning of your upkeep, look at the top card of your library. If it's an instant or sorcery card, you may cast it without paying its mana cost. Another real nice way to cheat out these really big and expensive spells. We also got Azaza from Secrets of Strixhaven to copy that. Typical ramp package here as far as I would be concerned. A lot of the mana rocks that we're used to. Bender's Waterskin actually plays a really big part in this deck, as the fact that it can untaps during each other player's untap step and can tap for any color. This is gonna give us the mana to keep triggering the Lorehold, as well as there was one other. Did I not put it in here? Oh, there it is. Victory Chimes. Again, another thing where you can give any player the mana, but mostly what we're looking here is that it untaps during each other player's tap step, giving us just a free mana each turn for those miracle spells that we want to cast. We do have a small discard package here because we are discarding cards constantly. So we're going to be using like Bag of Holding. Whenever you discard a card, exile it, and then you can sacrifice it to return them to your hand. Currency Converter turns those discards if they're lands into treasures or spells into creatures. Conspiracy Theorist, again, you can discard and draw, and whenever you discard one or more non-land cards, you may exile one of them from your graveyard and cast it this turn. So let's just say, you know, we do something where we discard a land. Well, now we can play it. Just helps us in that respect. Containment Construct, another one. Whenever you discard, you may exile a card from your graveyard. If you do, you may play that card this turn. This allows us, again, to keep playing our lands from discard, which is really going to help us, you know, not get overwhelmed and lose out. Cool But Rude is a bit of a payoff. Whenever you attack, you may discard and draw. Cool. But the big one we're looking for is the level 2. Whenever you discard a card, this class deals 2 damage to each opponent. Very strong there. We do have Glinthorn Buccaneer for some more burn when we discard. Same thing with Magmakin Artillerist. Just ways to kind of close out the game. And then Bralin, the Sky Shark Rider. Whenever you discard, put a +1/+1 counter on him, and he deals 1 damage to each opponent. He just turns into a big beater later on, which is great. We kind of want something like that just in case. Our draw spells, you know, pretty straightforward. Inti's pretty good here. Whenever you discard one or more cards, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card until the end of your next end step. Honestly, Inti could probably just be one of our discard payoffs. Monument to Endurance. Whenever you discard, choose one of the 3 effects that hasn't been chosen. Typically, we're just going to do the draw or create a treasure token, but the 3 damage is not, you know, bad. It is very noticeable later in the game. We're also doing like Valakut Awakening, allowing us to recycle our hand, get rid of some of the stuff that we don't need, and get them in there. A lot of discard effects that create us treasures, so just in case we can't get the miracle, we can still ramp into these things. And then like Reforge the Soul, which is, well, it's a wheel effect. It's Wheel of Fortune. It's a heavily costed one, but we can miracle it, which with our deck we can set up quite often. Same thing with like Will of the Jeskai. We're pretty much using it for the wheel effect, but every now and then the flashback of it is going to be relevant as well, so I didn't mind that. And then Creative Technique, just allowing us to play our big spells for free even faster. So that is basically the gist of the deck. Let's get into the playtester and see how it feels. All right, and here we are. Honestly, this isn't too terrible of a hand. Let's try it out and see what happens here. So the deck kind of plays slowly at first. So we're gonna start off with the plains, just because I'm not sure what side we want this on yet, what kind of mana we're gonna want. So we're gonna hang on to it till we absolutely know. Okay. Let's just say there's something that they did. We want to just counter it. Sure, there's a free draw. Okay, one of our big spells, but honestly, this is the cheapest of them, so it doesn't hurt for us to have it in our hand to play later. Okay, at this point, we're not really seeing much that we can do, so we'll play it on the red side. I don't feel like discarding our hand. What if we did Valakut, and we'll put you back, and you back. So these are all going to go to the bottom of our library, which is L. And then this allows us to draw those 3 cards again, +1. So we're never out of cards there. And honestly, that's not terrible. I was hoping for a little more top deck manipulation here, but we're going to take what we can get. All right. So we'll play you. Let's do the chat. No, honestly, we're going to ramp once more. Let's get the simulacrum out. This is really weird. I'm drawing all of my basics, which is very unusual. So we got the simulacrum. We've gotten up to the point, and now on turn 5, we can start getting off our stuff here. So let's take a look at the top card of our library before we do this. Okay, Glinthorn Buccaneer. Honestly, we're gonna bottom that, and then we're gonna play Lorehold. Okay. So Lorehold's not going to really do us much right now, but we're going to be able to kind of curate our draws. So we'll say for this first round, we don't do anything. We're just, this is a setup turn. Okay. And we'll do this. So this was the first card we drew this turn, so that doesn't do anything, which is fine. But what we're going to do now is we're going to play Semblance Amble. This is probably going to be the biggest piece of the puzzle here. When it enters, you may exile a non-land card from your hand. Spells you cast that share a card type with the exiled card cost 2 less to cast. So we're going to do that. No, we're not. We have no instants and sorceries. Holy cow. Alright, well then, I guess we're just going to... Is it you that we were going to do? Discard a creature, put a +1/+1 counter on it, discard a non-creature, non-land, fights up the target creature. Now we'll do you. Alright, so then opponent's turn. Discard, draw. This now has Miracle 2, or that does not have Miracle 2 because it's not an instant or sorcery. Okay, that's fine. Next turn, discard, draw. That has Miracle 2, so if we want, we can now... I mean, we don't need to do anything with that. It's just nice to have. It's a nice instance, so we'll keep that. And then last opponent's turn, discard, draw. What do we got with this one? Volcanic Vision. Return target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. Deals damage equal to that card's mana value to each creature your opponents control. Is that going to be worth doing? Yeah, I think so. So we'll do 2. And we will return Valakut, and we'll blow up our opponent's board. Also, we've discarded 3 cards now. Alright, now it is our turn. First card we drew this turn is Seize the Spoils. Okay, that's not bad. Let's start with that. We're going to seize the spoils. Let's discard that Abrade. We're going to draw 2. We're going to create 2 treasure tokens. We've discarded 2 more cards there. And we're going to Fellwar Stone just so that we have some more ramp. And then we'll do the Semblance Anvil and we'll put Valakut under it. So now all of our instant spells cost 2 less. So now opponent's turn, discard, draw. That's fine, don't need that. Next turn, discard, draw. And lastly, discard, draw. I didn't get too much value there, but we go into the final turn here. Didn't really get very far, but you can kind of see where this can kind of go. We'll do one more game here and then we'll get into the maybe board. Okay, this looks great. This looks exactly what we want to be doing. So we're going to keep this. Put that there. Didn't want to draw hit the mother lode just yet, but we'll see what we can do with that. We're not going to play out the top 2 early because we don't want to risk it getting destroyed. So we're just going to hang on to that. Are we just going to draw all of our big things here? It certainly looks that way. Okay, starting to get a little better. We're ramping. Okay, so now 1, 2, 3. We'll play the monument, and we'll play the top. Okay, and then let's say before our turn, we're going to look at the top 3 cards of our library, and let's set this up the way we want it. Honestly, I'd rather draw the land right now. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lorehold. And now each turn, we'll look at it. Okay. Honestly, we'll get the land because we don't really need it right now. And so, opponent's turn, discard, draw. We'll draw 2 because this is on each turn, right? So we get to do this twice every turn. And then before our next opponent's turn, we're going to look at the top 3. Okay. Discard, draw. And then it's going to be our turn. Go like that. Didn't really do us much good, but let's level this up. So this is now level 2. So now every time we're discarding, we're also dealing damage to our opponents. And we'll do Semblance Anvil, Path to Exile. So now if we miracle a sorcery or an instant, it's going to be free. So next opponent's turn, we're going to look at top 3. There's our approach. Problem is we can't play it right now. But now we know it's there. So what we're going to do we can make sure we play it. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to it's our opponent's turn. We're going to discard, draw for turn. Approach isn't an instant, so we don't get it there. However, we discarded, we can create a treasure token. Treasure plus the Fellwar Stone to cast this. And then we get to put this back into top 7. And then we gain 7 life. Now, things become real interesting. So, opponent's next turn, discard, we're going to draw 2. Neither of them do anything. Opponent's turn, discard, draw 2. Cool. Our turn, we're going to put that there. We're going to look at the top cards of our library. There's our approach. So next turn, we're just going to set it up for the draw. Opponent's turn, discard, draw, approach the second sun. It's how the deck's supposed to work. I mean, it's interesting, I think. It was kind of the most fun way I found to build Lorehold. The deck list will obviously be in the description of this video, so if you have any suggestions or want to see more, please feel free to communicate with me. I do always love the feedback, but that is the general loop that we are looking to do with this deck, is manipulate the top of our library, put Approach up there, and win the game. Let's get back to the deck and we'll look at the maybe board. There's quite a few expensive cards in here that would really take this deck up to the next level. Esper Sentinel honestly is one of the best white draw spells in the game. I think this should be in every white deck. If you can afford it, definitely worth playing. Deflecting Swat, also very good, helps us protect our commander, helps us, keep things going and everything in our path to be protected. Jessica's Will, one of the strongest cards in red. Add red for each card in target opponent's hand. Great, and then we can exile the top 3 cards of our library and play them this turn. Again, allows us to dig deeper, play bigger spells, everything that we're looking to do with this deck. Smothering Tide is a great ramp feature here. Allows us to keep the top going every time your opponent draws. If they don't pay 2, you get a treasure. Well, we'll use that treasure to fur the top. We don't need the treasures for anything else, but in other parts of the game, it's great for ramping out those big spells once again. One Ring, again, really strong card, not only protects you, but also allows us to draw a lot more cards, exactly what the deck wants to do. We want to get to that Approach of the Second Sun or one of our big spells, so this is just going to help us get to that point. And then lastly, Call Forth the Tempest. Cascade, so it's 8 mana. You're going to exile the top cards of your library until you hit 2 cards that cost 8 or less, and then it deals damage to each creature your opponent controls equal to the total mana value of other spells you've cast this turn. It's just a really good and effective board wipe that can come out of nowhere if you set it up with Lorehold to do the miracle. But yeah, that is going to be our Lorehold the Historian deck. Please let me know what you think. Comment, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. If you have any commanders that you'd like to see us do a Commander Corner on in the future, please feel free to send me a message either on YouTube here or in the Jungle Games Entertainment Discord. I am pretty active there as one of our Magic the Gathering community members. If you need a link to that, I will put that in the bio as well. Other than that, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, my name is Rob. I like to play games, and I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.